The book I'm reading from is called The Funny Folktales. The story I'm going to read is called The Tiger and the Jackal by Christopher Baretto. And of course, the publisher is HarperCollins Children's Books. The Tiger and the Jackal. Deep in the Himalayan jungles, there lived a white jackal who was quite different from the rest of his pack. While the rest of his pack feasted on other animals, the white jackal preferred to live off fruits and berries. He was kind and truthful, whereas the other jackals were greedy, cruel, and cunning. The white jackal had decided to live a life of solitude away from the rest of his pack and other animals. Upon seeing this, the other jackals got quite annoyed. They thought to themselves, "This jackal thinks too highly of himself. He eats simple berries while we feast on this deer. This behavior is unacceptable. Every animal must remain true to its nature. That's the circle of life." After an elaborate discussion, the other jackals decided to go and school the white jackal and try to change his perspective. When they went to him, one of the jackals said, "Hey friend, the way in which you live is just not acceptable to us. We don't like it. If it's too much of a hassle for you, we will give you some of the meat we hunt. You don't have to live like this." The white jackal was humble and calm. He replied, "Thank you for your kind concern. However, I am happy living on just fruit." The other jackals didn't like this response. One of them said, "Do you think that by imitating other animals you are better off than all of us?" The jackal was well aware of his position in the forest hierarchy, yet he didn't want his low position to lower his conduct. One of the other jackals heard this and said, "That's complete nonsense. You don't get to decide on your conduct. The way we live has been laid down by our forefathers generations ago. We jackals merely have to follow the rules." The white jackal refuted this. He said, "My dear friends, if we are responsible for our actions, then isn't it true that we have complete control and choice over our actions?" Meanwhile, King Tiger, the king of the forest, was eavesdropping on this conversation. Upon hearing the white jackal's words, he knew that he was a learned animal with blameless conduct. The conversation between the jackals continued. The white jackal grew tired of the arguments and impositions of his friends and said, "My friends, I do not wish to live your kind of life. It is evil that leads one towards temptation and discontent. I am happy with the way I am." The other jackals gave up and decided to leave the white jackal alone. The king knew that this jackal was quite unusual and deserved the utmost respect. Once the other jackals had left, King Tiger approached the white jackal with an officer. He said, "O righteous soul, I overheard your conversation with the other jackals. I respect you for your honorable sentiments. Please come to my court and become my chief minister. Your wisdom will truly be appreciated there." The white jackal looked blank. There wasn't a hint of expression on his face. He thought for a while and said, "O mighty king, thank you for your most generous offer. However, I do not wish to live the luxurious life of a courtier. I have also never served anyone and I am quite happy where I am now." The tiger was not one to take no for an answer. He continued to persuade the white jackal. After a while, the jackal said, "If you are so determined to appoint me, I will obey. However, you must treat my advice with respect and allow me to give it to you in private." Without any hesitation, the king agreed. And so, the white jackal was appointed as the king's chief minister. He was treated with utmost respect. At first, the other animals were not too keen on trusting him. However, as time passed, they confided in him and soon began to trust him with all their problems. The jackal was not only witty, he was also wise and just. He managed to solve the animals' problems with ease. Everyone respected his decisions. The white jackal made sure that the animals got justice. However, the other jackals in the forest remained untrusting of the white jackal. They grew tired and angry. The jackals conspired together. The leader of the jackals said to the pack, "That white jackal is one of us. Why must he help those common animals?" Through his decisions, He has sent our friends to jail. We must do something about it." Just then, one of the jackals came up with a plan to get rid of the white jackal by discrediting him. One jackal amongst the pack didn't wish to harm the white jackal. The white jackal had always been a friend to him. However, he knew that if he objected, the other jackals would harm him too. So he just went along with the plan. One day, the jackals sneaked into the king's dining room. There, they found his dinner lying on the table, waiting for him. They stealthily placed the king's dinner in the white jackal's room. When the king entered the dining room, he was furious to see his plate empty. He screamed, "Who dared to touch my plate before I ate? Speak up!" Just then, the jackals came in and said to him, "It wasn't us, your majesty, but we saw the chief minister take the meat to his room." King Tiger couldn't believe it. He had to see it for himself. He went to the chief minister's room to find his dinner lying there. His anger knew no bounds. He screamed, "How can I ever trust anyone ever again? I thought he was an honest and simple jackal. What a fool I was. The chief minister needs to be executed at once." He then ordered his guards to arrest him. However, the young jackal couldn't bear to see his friend behind bars. He knew he had to do something about it. He went to the king and secretly told him everything that the evil jackal friends had plotted against the white jackal. The king realized his mistake and asked for the white jackal to be released at once. The white jackal was called before the king. King Tiger said to the white jackal, "Friend, I was wrong to make such a hasty decision. Kindly resume your duties." The jackal was not happy to hear this. He said, "Your Majesty, first you bestowed upon me one of the highest honors, and then you treated me as your enemy. I cannot work for you anymore." The king was disheartened. He said, "Please forgive me. I should have judged you based on your actions, which have always been just. I should have questioned myself and given you a chance to redeem yourself. I let my anger get the better of me." The white jackal replied, "Trust once lost cannot be regained. Such a scar permanently marks relationships. Please give me your permission to go away." The king had no other choice but to relieve the white jackal of his duties. The white jackal left and spent the rest of his days in the forest in complete solitude.